this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode. Now, in today's podcast episode, I want to talk about the little voice of doubt, because you can be guaranteed if you're going to take action, that little voice is going to kick in. And it's going to tell you things like, you're not good enough. Who would watch you in a video? Who would read your blog post? Why bother putting that website or that blog together? It's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy, it's not going to go anywhere, and you're better off not taking action. And for a lot of us, we listen to that little voice. We assume that the advice it's given us is the right advice, that we're not good enough, that who would watch us, who would read our content, and who the hell would give us money. And what we do is we listen to it and we don't take action. Now, in this podcast episode, I'm going to talk about this little voice, and hopefully I'm going to give you some tips and some tricks that's going to make you see what it is and make you act in the right way when that little voice kicks in, so that it doesn't hold you back. Now, you probably want to know, where the hell does that little voice come from? Well, two places. First place is fear. That little voice is like one of these overly protective parents who just smothers you in their arms and won't allow you to do something that might hurt you, might embarrass you, and they're trying to keep you safe. So the little voice that we have, it is looking out for you, which is brilliant. It's good to have something looking out for us, keeping us safe. But you're going to find that by keeping us safe, it's actually going to hold us back. And what the little voice is, it actually is thinking of the version of us yesterday, last week, last month, last year. And when you show up today and you're saying to this little voice, you know something, I'm going to make a video today. That little voice goes racing off to the file cabinet. It looks at the version of you last week, last month, last year. And what it says is, you didn't make a video yesterday. You didn't make a video last month. You definitely didn't make a video a year ago. So what we're going to do is, we're not going to make a video today because we didn't do it in the past. And that's what you need to realize, is that when that voice kicks in, it is assuming that the knowledge it has about you is what is true for the future. But really what it's doing is, it's making the decision on you from today going backwards. It's looking through your past. And then it is kind of going through that filing cabinet. It's coming up with all these calculations and it's telling you, no, you can't do it. Now, the second place that little voice is coming from is echoes from the past. Because we've all got these little echoes in the past. All these moments where maybe we made a fool of ourselves, where there was something critical said about us, something nasty said about us, where we embarrassed ourselves and, something went wrong. And what we do is, we have these echoes from the past just floating around in our head, and then what that little voice is, it grabs onto those and it shows you that. And what it says to you is, don't make the video today. Do you remember that time when you were 12 and the time you did the presentation and you stood up in front of the class and you made a fool of yourself and it was horrible? This video is going to be the same way as well too. So again, it's trying to look out for you, but again, it's looking at knowledge and things that happened in the past. It has absolutely no view of the future. It doesn't know what the future version is of you. But again, we look at that little voice thinking, well, it knows me. It knows what I'll be able to do in the future. But really what it's doing is, it's looking at the past version of you, assuming that if we keep you like the past version of yourself, it's going to be safe. But like that parent who is just smothering you, not allowing you to do what you want to do, you be guaranteed that it's going to hold you back. That's not going to allow you to make your videos, not going to allow you to write your blog post, not going to allow you to build the online business, and all your dreams are just going to be crushed and held back because of it. So that's what you need to realize, where that voice comes from. It's not the voice of God. It is not this kind of voice that was given to us at birth telling us, well, these are the things that you can do. And if I don't see the thing that you are looking to do on this list, well, then I'm going to tell you it's a no. So that little voice is coming from fear, and it's coming from the echoes of past conversations that you've heard in the past. Sometimes said to us, and sometimes that we hear, said about us, and we assume that they are right. Now, what you need to do is, you need to challenge that little voice. A lot of us don't challenge it. We just assume that if it says you can't make a video, well, then we can't make a video. But again, what you need to do is, you need to challenge that. And one great way of challenging the little voice is to simply ask it a question. And the question simply is that true? And you're going to find that when you think about that, when it says to you, you can't make a video, and you ask it, is that true? You're going to find that little voice is probably going to go scrambling off for an answer. And it can't give you an answer because it doesn't know. It doesn't know the future. It doesn't know if the video that you're about to do will be successful, if it will go viral, if maybe you are suited to doing videos. It doesn't know that because it's looking at the past. So when you challenge a little voice, what you need to do is you need to not actually face it head on, because the more you kind of face on that little voice, the more it kind of builds up an argument on the other side. But what you simply need to do is you need to kind of sidestep it. What you need to do is you need to simply say to that little voice, thank you for looking out for me. Thank you for pointing out that, the video I could make could go wrong, that it could be a failure, that it mightn't work out for me, but I'm willing to take action to try it out and see what happens. So by you actually thanking that little voice, what you're doing is you're not putting any resistance to it, but you're going to work around it. And then you simply ask it, well, is that really true? Do you know for a fact that if I make this video, that it's going to be horrible? Do you know for a fact this video isn't going to go anywhere? Do you know for a fact that maybe I'm not suited to make videos? And that little voice doesn't know. Because as I said, it's looking back at the past version of you for whatever evidence it can give you today. So when you have that little voice kicking in, you need to kind of, kick the legs out from under it. You need to just, like a courtroom scene, you need to kind of pull apart that little message that it gives you. Is that really true? Do you think, do you actually know my future? Again, the little voice doesn't know your future. It doesn't have a crystal ball. It's just assuming that it knows best. But you're going to find that most times it doesn't know best. But again, that's because it's going on your past history. Now, what you need to remember as well too is when you have that little voice, that doesn't mean you can't take action. There's many days I turn up here where I'm not feeling confident, where that little voice is telling me, well, Barry, who's going to watch you in a video today? Who's going to pay any attention to you? But I still show up and record the video because I know that if the video is going to get made, I have to make the video, and I have to make it whether the little voice is on my side today or whether it's trying to bring me down. And that's what you need to realize as well too, is that just because you have the little voice doesn't mean you can't take action with your hands. It doesn't mean you can't write that blog post, record that video, and keep building your online business. It's not going to stop you. And you're going to find for a lot of us, that you assume, are full of confidence, do kind of feel great in themselves, have huge self-belief. You're going to find that there are days that those heroes of yours show up lacking confidence, having that little voice question their ability. Why would anyone pay attention to them? But they still show up and take action. So even though you're scared, even though you don't believe in yourself, and even though that little voice is telling you that you're not worthy of this, you can still take action. So don't allow that little voice to be in charge of your hands. You're in charge of your hands. And if you want to make the video today, make the video today, even though you're scared and even though that voice is telling you not to do it. Another thing you need to do as well too is you need to build a positive voice. What we need to do is we need to build another voice in our head filled with positivity. So what we need to do is we need to build ourselves up. We need to do the kind of yin and the yang. We might have the little devil on our shoulder, but we need to build the little angel on our shoulder. And you can do that with positive affirmations, either saying them yourself, or if you have maybe an audio track or an MP3 file filled with affirmations, you can listen to it as you work. You can listen to it when you sleep, but you should try and build up a positive voice in your head to kind of quieten down that little devil on your shoulder. So there's no reason why you can't actually, build something positive, that you need to listen to all the negativity. And you're going to find that as you kind of build more of a positive voice in your head, it will quieten down. And you will find that it will allow you to take action because you feel more positive about yourself. And again, this is something that I do regularly, and it's something I constantly do because the little voice, the little negative voice is always there. And what you need to do is you need to feed in the positivity daily. It should be like brushing your teeth, because the more you the less you do the positivity, you're going to find the negativity will start to grow again. So like brushing your teeth and combing your hair and washing yourself, this positivity that you need to feed into yourself is something that you need to do all the time. Because if you don't, again, that little voice is going to have more room, it's going to have more space, and it's going to again tell you that you can't do what you'd like to do. Now, what you need to do as well too is you need to realize that you can't have two thoughts at the same time. It's impossible to do. So you can have either a negative thought or you can have a positive thought. And if you find that maybe the negative thought is taking up space, just overlap it Was it a positive thought? And try and focus on the positive thought. And when you focus on the positive thought, it doesn't allow the negative thought to get in. Doesn't give it any room. Because you can only focus on one thing at a time. So if you find that negativity is kind of taking over, well then what you need to do is you need to push it off its little platform. And you need to focus on a positive thought. And keep focusing on that positive thought. It might take you a while, maybe just to build some momentum, to build some confidence before you record your video or write your blog post or whatever. But try and build it up so that it's the only thing that your brain is focused on, because your brain can focus on two thoughts at the same time. And as well too, you need to fill your life with a lot of positive content. It's okay, listening to affirmations and maybe saying affirmations. But then if you're going on places like social media where you're looking at all the negativity, looking at all the things that trigger you, that anger you, that bring you down, watching the news in the evening, things like that, all that other negativity is going to add ammunition to that little voice. Because that little voice is going to look at the other things, that the negativity that's happened in other people's life, and what it's going to say to you, oh, you remember that person on Facebook who tried to write that book and that book didn't go anywhere. They made it a complete embarrassment, and all that money they spent trying to publish that book. And what it does is, if it doesn't have enough information on your past history, it's going to go out in the world and it's going to gather all that negativity that it sees from all the different places and build a case for you as well too. So you need to kind of cut down on the social media. You need to be aware of the information that you're putting into your head. If this was a little garden, if your head was a little garden, there's no way you would allow weeds to grow. So what you need to do is you need to try and keep away the weeds in your garden and put in good, positive content. Good podcasts, good videos, as much positive information as you can. Not that you are going to go around thinking that the whole world is positive and that everything is hunky-dory. You have to be realistic. There is the good and there is the bad in the world. But you need to realize that if you're focusing on the bad all the time, it's not going to allow you to be the best that you can. So you need to try and get as much positive and good content as you can. You need to hang out in good forums, good Facebook groups, and people who want to build you up, who want you to be more than you are, and who will allow you to push through that little voice, because they can see in you, yes, you could be someone who could make videos. Yes, you could be someone who could build a business around the passion that people would love to follow you, love to know what you do. So you need to kind of surround yourself with those people so that you have more ammunition when that little voice does kick in. But again, too, it's something that you need to do constantly, because if you don't, again, that little voice will take up more space, and then you're going to start doubting yourself and you're not going to take action. So what I'd say to you as well too is that, again, this is going to be an ongoing thing. You can't just feed your head with positive content today and that's it for the next couple of months. You need to constantly keep washing the deck, washing the dirt away, plucking the weeds out so that you feel good about yourself. So what I want you to do today is, when that little voice kicks in, I want you to see it for what it is. That it's not the Word of God. It's not the blueprint of what you're capable of. It's simply just fear, and it's going on your past history. It doesn't know the future. It doesn't know what's going to happen when you start recording these videos. It doesn't know where your podcast is going to go. It doesn't know, if the business or the website or the blog or whatever you're building right now is going to be successful. It doesn't know it. It doesn't have a crystal ball. It would like you to think that it does have a crystal ball, that it knows all the steps that's going to happen in the future. But it doesn't. It's simply looking from here backwards into your past and then making decisions about what you're capable of doing. Now, if I was to focus, in my own case, on my past, I would never write fiction. I wouldn't be hearing videos. I wouldn't have a podcast. I wouldn't be building a business around my passion if all my decisions were based on the past. And the fact that I do those things and have done those things is because I did challenge that little voice. I did show up on days when I didn't believe in myself, when I didn't think it was going to work out, and that it was all going to be a waste of time. And I want you to remember that as well too. So when that little voice kicks in today, don't see it as the Word of God. Challenge it and fight against it, and take action even if you don't believe in yourself. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.